Y'all, it's been 3 whole years since Twitch passed, and now, out of nowhere, the cops are reopening the case. And let me tell you, things are not looking good for his wife, Allison Holker. See, most people thought Twitch died by suicide. That's what the headlines said, that's what she told the world. But recently, investigators started digging again, and what they've found is straight up suspicious. Word is, Twitch didn't take his own life. He was unalived. And guess who's at the center of the mess? Allison. Now, this ain't just internet chatter. Allegedly, there's real paperwork and hidden bank moves that suggest Allison wasted no time cashing out his accounts right after his death, like barely a moment to grieve. 1 minute he's gone, the next she's trying to get the courts to hand her every last penny, and get this, her first move wasn't even mourning. She allegedly filed a petition saying he was basically broke when they got married, so she should get half of everything they built together. But the shady moves didn't stop there. Allison apparently started cleaning out the closet just days after his death, supposedly to pick out a funeral outfit for him. But while doing that, she suddenly discovered drugs and pills hidden in his shoes. She told people that she never knew he was using and that he must have been secretly struggling. Ooh, but y'all, really? You don't notice your husband is secretly battling addiction until you're cleaning out his closet and just so happen to find it in a way that backs up your story. It sounds like a calculated move, especially since she was already trying to sway public opinion by painting Twitch as a tortured soul. She even went on to write a book called This Far, not even a year after his death, where she basically aired out all his alleged demons. In that book, she talked about childhood trauma, addiction, and all kinds of things Twitch never once spoke about publicly. His own friends said he kept that stuff private on purpose. So why is she the one telling his story now and profiting from it? But wait, y'all, this thing runs deeper than just the real plot twist. There are rumors she didn't act alone. She was allegedly linked to both Ellen DeGeneres and Diddy, and not just casually. Sources say there was money involved. Big money. Apparently, Ellen and Diddy paid her to stay quiet about what she knew. What exactly did she know? Well, some folks think Twitch saw or heard something he wasn't supposed to, and that's why he ended up dead. People have been side-eyeing Ellen since the moment Twitch died. She was super close to him. He was a staple on her show, but after his death, she distanced herself in a weird way. And what makes it weirder? Ellen's name keeps coming up in connection to some shady industry parties. You know, the kind where celebs go and what happens there never sees the light of day. Diddy's name is always floating around in that mix too. And guess who used to be super tight with both of them? Twitch. There's even this old clip from Ellen's show where she and Diddy were low-key joking about these wild after-parties. Ellen slipped up and mentioned knowing about them before quickly covering her tracks, like, oh, I heard it in his music. Please, the body language, the awkward laugh, everything screamed, I know more than I'm saying. So now with the case being reopened and all this dirty laundry resurfacing, people are really starting to connect dots. Twitch's friends and family have been vocal too. One cousin even said they had to sign NDAs just to attend his funeral. NDAs at a funeral? What was she trying to hide? And this is just the beginning. The tea only gets hotter from here. Ellen's name being thrown into this mess wasn't just speculation, it was backed by patterns people had seen before. Remember Anne Heche? Yeah, Ellen's ex. She died in a fiery car crash that had everybody scratching their heads. Before her death, Anne went on a podcast and exposed some pretty unsettling things about Ellen, accusing her of selling out for fame and fortune, choosing industry power over real love. She even claimed Ellen tried to put her in a mental facility and shut her out of the business. Anne's words were raw. She said Ellen had stopped caring about anything but money and power and that she was buried by calculated systems that didn't want her truth getting out. Just weeks after airing all that out, she ends up in a fatal crash that left her trapped in a burning car for nearly 30 minutes. When her hospital blood work came back, the drugs they found had already been inactive, meaning she wasn't high during the crash. Something about the timing of all that just felt too perfect for someone who wanted her quiet. And now people are wondering if that same kind of silence was forced onto Twitch, especially since Twitch was surrounded by people tied into the same shady circles. There's a theory going around that he either saw something he wasn't supposed to or refused to go along with something darker. Maybe that's why he suddenly spiraled and why Allison was so quick to push the addiction narrative. Because if Twitch was struggling mentally, it would explain everything neatly, no questions asked. But his family wasn't buying that story for a second. His cousin Courtney Ann came out swinging, calling Allison's book tacky, opportunistic, and flat-out disgusting. She said they all had to sign NDAs just to show up at his funeral, and that Twitch's own mother was treated like an outsider through the whole thing. Allison reportedly didn't want any of them talking, posting, or sharing anything about the service unless it aligned with her version of events. And speaking of events, Allison was allegedly already moving cities before the funeral flowers had even wilted. People started noticing she was clearing out his things, shifting money around, and quietly dipping out of their home. Meanwhile, she was still in court asking for Twitch's royalties, investments, and even the money from the films he'd been in. One insider claimed she did leave a single coin untouched. Then came the accusations from Twitch's actual friends. One close director friend went public, saying Allison had her own history with substances and was just projecting her past onto Twitch to cover herself. According to him, she was the one with the problem, and if anyone had been struggling in the relationship, it was Twitch, struggling to survive being married to someone toxic. He even hinted that if Twitch had gotten out sooner, he might still be alive. And here's where things got even uglier. As the public started piecing this together, more folks began speaking out. One of Twitch's friends said she had a dream after he passed where he told her, "Nothing is what it seems." That hit hard. The whole thing suddenly felt like a giant cover-up where too many people were benefiting from his silence. From money to reputations to protection, it was like Twitch's death was just convenient. Now, people are demanding answers. They're asking what really happened in those last days. Was Twitch targeted? Did Allison act alone, or was she just a pawn in something much, much bigger? The truth might be buried deep, but folks aren't backing down until it's fully uncovered. Allison's behavior after Twitch's death didn't sit right with anyone paying close attention. She wasn't acting like a grieving widow. She was moving like someone handling a business transaction, filing court papers, fighting for assets, staying suspiciously quiet on social media unless it promoted her book. The vibe was cold, and while she was busy pushing her version of events, Twitch's real friends were busy pushing back. One of the loudest voices came from a friend named Comfort, who had known Twitch for years. She went on a fiery rant online, accusing Allison of not only exploiting his death, but of actively trying to destroy his legacy. She called her an evil woman and claimed Twitch had come to her in a dream to say, "Lives and fairy tales, nothing is what it seems." That one line shook people. It felt like a warning. More stories started surfacing. People remembered that Twitch had always been full of light, dancing, laughing, uplifting others. Sure, everyone's got their own struggles, but this man didn't give off the energy of someone about to give up on life. It didn't add up, and Allison's own actions weren't helping her case. From the NDAs at the funeral to the rushed estate battles, she was doing everything except mourning. And let's not forget the industry names tied to this mess. Ellen DeGeneres, once a symbol of kindness and positivity, was now being side-eyed as one of the darkest figures in the background. Whispers about her connection to Diddy weren't new, but what was new was how loud those whispers were getting. Old clips began to resurface, including that awkward exchange on her show where Diddy joked about wild after-parties and Ellen tried to play dumb. She laughed it off, claiming she only knew about them because of his music, but her face said otherwise. That moment, once brushed off as harmless banter, now looked like a mask slipping, and Diddy, his name has been linked to more than one shady situation, and many believe his so-called freak-offs are where a lot of Hollywood's darkest secrets are buried. People suspect Twitch was recruited or at least invited. But what if he said no? What if he didn't want to play the game? That could have made him a liability. Allison allegedly knew about all of it. That's the kicker. According to multiple sources, she wasn't just some clueless wife in the background, she was involved, paid, coached, maybe even protected. One rumor says she was promised millions to keep Twitch quiet, and when that failed, she was paid again to tell a different story. And while none of this has been confirmed in a court of law, the public court of opinion is another story. Online, people are gathering receipts, old videos, court filings, and testimonials. It's become a community-driven investigation. Everyone's tired of watching good people vanish while the ones in power walk away clean. Twitch's legacy is now at a crossroads. It's not just about mourning him, it's about honoring him with truth. The man brought joy to millions. He didn't deserve to be reduced to a cautionary tale or a side note in someone else's narrative. If anything, the truth coming out now could be the one thing that finally gives him peace. So many questions remain. Who's going to be held accountable? Will this case actually lead to justice, or will it fade out like so many other Hollywood tragedies? Whatever happens next, one thing's clear: people aren't letting this go. Twitch's light was too bright, and the darkness surrounding his final days is finally being dragged into the open.